to Elle Unfiltered, where you can hear the stories from behind the scenes from actors, artists, producers, and writers and more.
Hello.
All right. Hello. All right, you guys. Welcome to Elle Unfiltered. As you guys know, we are always have some special guests who's coming on and talk about a latest project or just to say hello again. Like our current guest, who's Mr. Timothy Whitaker, aka just a jester. I get a mouth, I get tongue tied when I say that. But he is here from the UK and he stayed up late, even to just talk to us, or if he's always up late. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm always up late.
Yeah. So he's up late. So, hey, excuse you. So welcome to the show. They're on TikTok. They're saying hi. I guess on some other social media they're saying hello. So,
Hello.
so you are here to talk to us about your latest project called Mirror, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's my latest song.
And I think it's when I saw the cover for it, I was like, whoa. Anything that makes me have a reaction like that, I always want to learn more about it. So before we get there, though, I want to give people a little bit of backstory about you.
About me.
Yep. So you have, make sure I have this right, because I kept looking at the numbers and I said, is this actually right? At one point, you performed for over 7 million people live on BBC. What was that? And how did that happen? Is that true?
That is true. Yeah, BBC One. It's on BBC One.
Uh-huh.
I was with my brother. We used to call ourselves Tyler at the time. And yeah, we did a number of gigs. We played Glastonbury about 7 or 8 times. And we backed up with, we backed Sonia Christina from Curved Air, who was married to Stuart Copeland of The Police. So we used to go and rehearse at their house in Buckinghamshire.
Nice.
Yeah. So, sorry, what was the question again? I've kind of gone astray here, haven't I?
Okay, so my thing is, when you perform for that many people, what is that feeling like? Because it has to be like an out-of-body experience, I would think. 7 million people, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you're familiar with Top of the Pops. It was actually filmed in the Top of the Pops studio.
Okay.
So yeah, it's quite unnerving when you've got these huge, great cameras looming in at you while you're singing your song. And not only that, we had to do it at about 8:30 in the morning. Now, I don't think I've ever got up and sung at 8:30 in the morning in my life, you know. So that was an experience in itself. Basically, we had to kind of we ran through they give us a run through first, and then on the second take that was done live. That was a very long time ago we did that, but yeah, it was quite a bit unsettling to the nerves, to say the least.
Okay, so that was when you was with your brother.
That was with my brother.
Yeah. And how long ago was that?
My God, now you're going to give my age away now.
It's okay, I give mine away all the time. It's okay.
It's probably sorry about that noise, 35 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I'm still going strong. I haven't done another TV appearance since then, but you never know what might be in the pipeline. Who knows?
Okay, so my next question would be, why not? Why haven't you? Have you just turned down offers, or have you not received any offers?
Well, since then we kind of we thought, well, we had a lot of record companies interested in us at the time.
Okay.
And we were a bit silly because we took on a management company who weren't very good for us, and we had about 3 record labels after us, and we should have really signed something, but there was a lot of very dubious people representing us, who kind of stopped the flow, and unfortunately, I think it kind of blacklisted us among all the other record companies at the time. So Yeah, so yeah, we're very unlucky, really. We had those opportunities, and they didn't come to fruition, unfortunately. But then, so then we kind of we're all still playing music, but it was like, you know, we were nobody wanted to touch us, you know, as far as the record industry were concerned. But you know, we didn't lose spirit. We carried on playing music, and here I am. I'm still doing it now.
You are still doing it because if I did my homework, you've had 36 solo, 36 songs, solo songs right now to date, right? This is number 36.
That's
Mirrors.
right. Well, there's probably more, but I didn't release all of them. All of the ones I've written and recorded.
And did you release them under the adjuster? We got to talk about that. The adjuster persona. Did you release them all of those under the adjuster persona?
Yeah, that's right. Well, some of them are old revamped songs that I'd never got to record back in the day,
Okay.
but most of them are new ones. Yeah.
Okay. Now, please tell me about the adjuster persona because every time it's captivating, but it's interesting. But I want to know, where did that persona come from? Where did that name come from? And why did you choose that?
I chose Just a Jester. It took me quite a while to come up with that name. I was thinking, what shall I call this project of mine? You know, so I went through numerous names, wasn't happy with any of them. So I went back to school days, and well, I was a bit of a boy back in the day, you know.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I kind of lost. You know, I went to a secondary modern school, which is like the high school for you over there. When
Okay.
on the very first day I went, when I was about 11 years old, I got caned. I don't know if that means anything to you over there, but it's literally a cane, and they smack your backside with it, you know,
Oh,
for
okay.
being naughty. All right. So on the very first,
Back in the day, we just called it a paddle. So
right,
the kids would get a
yeah,
paddle, back in the day. So, but now you
yeah.
can't touch the kids. So that's the other
So
thing.
I got caned for something I did on the very first day I went to the secondary modern school, and I kind of lost respect for authority almost immediately because of that. Because I hadn't actually done anything wrong.
Okay.
Do you want to hear the story behind it?
I most certainly want to hear the story.
Well, okay. We had a registration assembly, and we had a teacher who was kind of gathering us all for our form,
Okay.
and he was going to take our names at the registration and all this kind of stuff. So he'd call out your name and all the rest of it. But as we were settling down to go in the classroom for this registration, I was the last one in the classroom to enter the classroom. There was a desk there, but there wasn't a chair. And so I pretended I was sitting down in a chair with my hands on the desk, you know.
Oh, God. Okay.
But after about half an hour, my thighs were getting too tired, and I just stood up. I couldn't stay in that position.
Oh,
And the teacher threw a blackboard rubber at me and said, "Right, you get on detention."
oh.
So they put me on detention for that. It wasn't really my fault, you know what I mean? So anyway, so I went to the detention, and yeah, that's right. We're all sitting there, and again, they kind of call out your names to make sure that you went to the detention. And when it came to my name, I was already asleep.
Oh,
So the next day I went to school. So sorry, I got caned on the second day. So the next day I went to school, and my form teacher came up to me and said, "You didn't go to detention. You know what happens to boys that don't go to detention?" And I said, "No." "Oh, they go to the headmaster's office and they get caned."
Oh.
And I was only 11 years old anyway, so I got a good caning for not going to a detention, which I actually went to. And so I kind of lost respect for authority almost immediately. I went to the school.
Okay. So you were in detention with other kids. So why didn't other kids wake you and say they're calling your name? That's the other question.
Well, that's a good point. But anyway, my mother stuck up for me. She You know, she came in, you know, throwing her fists about and everything the next day, saying, you know, he went to detention because he's late for dinner, you know, all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
right. But I can
Anyway,
truly say,
that's kind of so from then on, I lost respect for all authority back then, and I got caned quite a few other times after that for being naughty. And so, yeah, I was very much the classroom jester, as it were.
okay,
So I would almost deliberately disrupt the lessons. Now, I'm not saying to all the kids out there that that's a good idea. No, it's not a good idea. You should go to school and learn some stuff, you know.
well, you know what? I would say this. I think that in every class, there's always a class clown. In
Yeah,
every group, there's always a class clown. So you happen to be the one for your group.
I
Right.
was exactly that. That's exactly that. So that's where the jester part comes
So
from.
that's what it just. I figured as much, but I wanted to clarify before because I didn't want to insult you at first. So I wanted to clarify that. So, and here's what I say about all class clowns or class jesters. You know, you guys make us laugh. So all of us who are kind of scared to ruffle feathers, you make the other kids laugh and feel comfortable. So
Well,
you
this
give us
is
a break when we need it.
yeah, exactly. I brought a bit of fun to the classroom.
Oh, there you go. And so that's where your adjuster came from that moment in your life. So
Yeah,
that's
well, the just bit is like it's only me. You know what I mean? It's
so
only me. So because in all of the recordings that you know, I don't involve anybody else so far in the project. I'd love to, but at the moment, I do everything in it. You know, all the noises you hear on the recordings. It's all something I've done. You know, mainly playing the guitar and singing.
is there a
Everything else
line
is sampled.
is there a line that you draw because you're a singer songwriter but you also entertain people. So how do you connect the two?
Connected
Because
to.
yeah, because you're an entertainer as well. So you do some other things and not just singing when you're singing. You do some other stuff, right?
Well, I don't do any magic tricks or anything like that, or you know,
Wow.
handstands. Or
But with the name like with Jester there, I would think you would have to be a little more creative on stage when you're doing live performancing. That's my question.
well, I don't know. Maybe you know, I'm a bit afraid of. Uh, I'm not. You know, there's a part of me that's very shy, and
Oh my God, I would never believe that.
you
I
know,
will never
for me,
believe
when it comes to the performance, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. You know,
that.
so.
Okay.
You know, before I even go to an open mic night, you know, I'll make sure I rehearse that song till I really know it and it's in my blood and I don't have to think about it. You know, it just comes out and then you can perform, you know. Um, yeah, so I concentrate on that, on doing a good performance, uh, vocally and playing, you know, at the same time. So, yeah,
We, we, we,
that's
we
the
touched
best.
on we touched
I
on a
come
moment
over,
ago. We touched on a
sorry.
moment ago about the 36 about you've released 36 singles. How is it that you did that or more when so many people have a hard time just even getting maybe 10 songs together? How have you managed to do that?
Uh, I've done it ever since I was a little boy. Uh, I've always done it. It's kind of part of what I am, you know. So um, you know, even when I was at school being naughty, you know, I was kind of ooh, figuring out lyrics for songs and all the rest of it, and interested in music. And but I didn't really get the knack of it until I was about 19 years old.
Oh
But
wow.
but as soon as I was 19 years old, I got myself a reel-to-reel Revox tape recorder and started recording pieces of music. And I was really back in those days. Who really inspired me was Mike Oldfield and Tubular Bells on the Virgin outlet, you know, and uh, that piece of music, Tubular Bells, that really got me going. I thought, oh, I want to do something like that. So when I first started recording, it wasn't so much the lyrical side. I was making these really long, epic pieces of music, you know, and by the time I was 19, I'd already had recorded about 50 of these things, you know, and I, I've I've always done it, you know, so that's what part of what I do, and
So safe to say, I would say it's safe to say that you are a true musician because it's your not just a passion, but it's a part of you. You couldn't do anything else but music, right? If you had a choice, you would always stick to music. That's my question.
Well, this is it. Yeah, you know, if I could make a really good living out of it, I'd be doing music all the time. Yeah. But yeah, I have to kind of. I come from a family full of artists. That I don't know if you can see that, but that's a painting by my father there.
I
And
like it. Yeah.
yeah, he was an abstract artist, and he's a
Okay.
recognised artist. He's not alive anymore, but a painting like that goes for about £30,000 now. Yeah,
Wow. You know
yeah.
what? I just recently started to really get it to try to learn more about abstract painting because I'm usually that person that just likes, give me a garden or give me a I don't know, a restaurant or anything that I can really just kind of sink myself into. But abstract, I'm just starting to kind of feel my way through it and understand that a little bit more. Because my sister was always, when we went art shopping, I would always, I would look for the trees or the forest, something like that. And she would automatically go for the abstract. And I was like, what is that? I was like, what is it? So now as the older I get, I'm understanding a little bit better.
Yeah, well, my father was he used to teach. He was a senior lecturer in art schools all around England,
Hmm.
and so yeah, he went to the Royal Academy of Art over here, which is the best art school to go to because he was recognised at a very early age at being very talented,
Hmm.
and was allowed, even though he wasn't very well off, got into a very kind of high caliber type school for art, and he was absolutely fanatical about his art. And in many ways, I'm pretty much the same with music. Uh, I have got a talent for doing painting and stuff like that
Do
because
you really?
I do. But I saw how my dad suffered as an artist all through his life,
Oh.
and thought, I'm not gonna. I better not do that, you know. So I kind of went off and did as many other things as I possibly could, you know, to occupy myself.
If you if
Uh,
your if your dad could answer this question for me, so I'm gonna let you speak for your dad. How would you explain abstract art?
how would I explain abstract art?
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, that is a difficult. It's very kind of it's symbolic, you know, like uh, certain paintings that my dad would use. He would do a painting for every day of the year, for example.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, a small watercolor, and they'd be like working sketches for the bigger ones that he would
Hmm.
make, take more time over the bigger ones. But every day he would do a watercolor like this as a working sketch for the bigger ones,
Okay.
and uh, basically he was doing one for every day and representing the seasons, the changing seasons.
Oh,
So, like, for example, winter would be all dark colors and more somber colors. Autumn would be brown and orange and
okay. Hmm.
yellowy, orangey colors, and you know, so he would use the colors to kind of be symbolically representative of parts of the seasons as they changed gradually, and you know. Uh, but that's just one way of doing it through color, otherwise, through the shapes and things can represent
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
kinds of other things.
Hmm.
For example, um, he went to see Egypt, so there were lots of kind of, it's all very linear what he would do, his way of expressing himself like
Hmm.
this. But there were lots of kind of hieroglyphic types
Gotcha.
symbolisms going on in his work at that point. So instead of kind of literally doing like almost like a photograph
Right.
of the pyramids, he would take a pyramid shape and warp it slightly, and
Okay.
in his way, if you know what I mean. So
Hmm.
it suggested a pyramid without actually being a pyramid. So
See, that's
it's
the person that I
you
am.
know what I mean?
I'm like, if you're gonna build me pay me a pyramid, I want to be able to tell that it's a pyramid. That's just how I am.
Yeah, well, some people. Well, my father he actually started out like that. He could draw things perfectly as you
Mhm,
see them,
mhm.
and that's how he got picked up and taken to the Royal Academy for his drawings of grasses. He would do drawings of really, really intricate drawings of blades of grass, and things like
Wow.
that. And dandelions and things like that, But it was with such detail. It was, you couldn't tell the difference between the real and his drawing.
So
It
I
was
know what.
very, very.
So we know what influenced your dad. What influences your music? What influenced music that you put out?
The music that I put out, who
Hmm.
influences me? Well, the first record there's numerous people, but the first record I actually bought when I was 11 years old was a Stevie Wonder record. I love Stevie Wonder, still do. Fantastic performer. Uh,
You know what I know about Stevie Wonder is that his music is very hard to duplicate. You can't
oh,
with the different oh my god, I don't know how to, with different, I guess the rhythms that he put together, the different I can't even explain it really because I just remember one time because I was a teacher before doing this, and I was going to teach my students a Stevie Wonder song, and I can't remember the song, but I was like, oh my god, the kids were horrible at it. I couldn't seem to get them to understand when to come in on certain. I couldn't. But I love the song, but I couldn't get the kids. The kids were like, Miss Ellis, we can't. It's hard. We can't do it. And and I was like, I agree. We got to put Stevie to the side, and we just couldn't do it. Do you
well,
find?
he was brilliant,
Yeah.
all-round player. I don't know if you know the Music of My Mind album. Uh, um, he plays all the instruments on that, even the
Okay.
drums, the whole lot, everything he plays on it, and it's fantastic. What an all-round musician he was. Uh, you know, I've, his vocals, of course, just no one can kind of duplicate his vocals.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's Stevie
Yeah.
Wonder.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder's got that voice, and it's instantly recognizable. But the way he plays a chromatic
The
harp,
harmonica, the harp.
oh, is fantastic. I mean, you can tell when somebody's used him on, like I think he did a Eurythmics record one time, and you can just tell a million miles away. That's Stevie Wonder playing that. Because he's got his own style. It's just
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. When you watch like a program he's on, and I said it's just like for me it's quintessential Stevie Wonder. I mean, I just admire him. I love the work, and I'm glad that you're a fan. Now, would that be a person safe to say that you would like? I would love to do a collaboration with Stevie Wonder.
oh, me too.
No, I'm saying you, not me, because I can't sing. I'm saying you. I only sing behind the walls, the doors, and stuff. I'm talking about
Well,
you.
oh, he can sing a lot higher than I can. I've got quite a low voice. I'm probably a baritone. But yeah, he can get right up there. I can't. I used to be able to get right up there when I was younger, but and go into falsetto. I used to do that a lot, but I don't do that so much now. I daren't just to can't, in case I can't hit those notes. But, so I know what my limits. So I stick to my limits.
And you've been in the industry so long. I'm not saying so long. You've been in the industry for a long time, and you've toured with some heavy hitters like Steve Copeland,
Stuart Copeland.
Stuart Copeland.
Yeah, I didn't tour with him. I played with him one time because he was the husband of Sonia Christina. Now I was in a band with Sonia Christina, but it wasn't Curved Air. That's who she's famous for playing with, Curved Air, and she still plays with Curved
Okay,
Air now.
okay.
Uh, but Stuart Copeland used to play in her band in Curved Air before the Police started, and
Hey.
yeah, that's right. So her and Stuart Copeland were together when they when Stuart wanted to form the Police, and
Okay.
yeah, so they went around all the clubs in London looking for a singer, and they saw Sting in is it the 101 Club? It was a jazz club anyway in London, and Sting was doing some of the songs that Police are quite famous for, but in a jazz format, and yeah, even back then, and in many ways, it was Sonia that said, "You should get that Sting. He's pretty good, you know." And the rest is history, of course.
And why did they choose you? Why did they choose you?
Why did Sonia choose me to be in her band? Well, I was playing with my brother at the time, and I was playing in a club called the Troubadour, which you have over there as well. You've got a Troubadour over there. Ours isn't quite as big as yours. Yeah, it was a little underground club, and but lots of famous people had played there. Bob Dylan had played there. Paul Simon had played there. Elvis Costello had played there. All kinds of big names had played in this tiny little club in London, in Earl's Court, and I used to go there every week. I think I went there every week. It was just a weekly kind of acoustic club, strictly acoustic. You had no electric in there whatsoever, so no amps or whatever. So everybody had to be quiet and listen to the performers, and which was great because they don't do that so much in a pub these days. You know, it's all rowdy and they just make a lot of noise. And, but anyway, yeah, we were playing. My brother and I were playing in there acoustically, and Sonia was there and saw us both playing and said, "I want those two in my band." So, so yeah, we ended up playing with her in her band, and did a couple of albums with her, and toured up and down England for about 4 years or so. You know, on and off, going up and down England. We never went abroad, but yeah.
Why have you never gone abroad? Why have you you've never been to the U.S.?
Well, I started abroad, actually. I did start abroad. Very first, I'd written all these songs when I was young, and then I went to live in France when I was about 19, between 19 and 21, and for 2 years, yeah. And yeah, I had to find a load of money to pay the rent the next day. Literally, I had a month's rent to find for the next day in this apartment. Yeah, and I didn't have it. And they said, so my girlfriend at the time said, "Il faut faire le marche," which basically means you've got to go out busking to get some money. Yeah, and I was petrified. I'd never actually played live, you know, at that point, but I'd written all these songs. So I went out, and I went into a restaurant. It's not quite the same as busking on the street. You have to kind of go in the restaurant and play. So I went up to the manager and said, "Is it all right if I do a few songs in French, of course?" And well, I wasn't going to sing in French. I just had to speak French with these people, and there's nearly always, because they knew I was English, they would say, yeah, because they were into the blues big time in France, you know, and they thought I could play the blues.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't exactly play the blues, but I'd written a load of songs, and because I was English, they thought, oh, maybe he can play something, you know, like the blues. And anyway, and so I did these 4 songs. I was petrified. I thought I'd never played live, you know. I did these 4 songs in there, and that was it. You know, I realized blindly my voice really carried, and I thought, I've got a voice. And I went round with a plate, and yeah, I got a load of money, and then I thought, let's do 3 more restaurants. Did 3 more restaurants, and I got a month's rent, literally.
In one evening.
In one evening, yeah. In one evening, I got a month's rent for the next day. I never looked back after that. I was living like a lord. It's too easy.
At that point, you said that I can do this. I can make music. I can make a living pretty much off my music. Is that the thought you had?
Yeah. So I just carried on doing that for the rest of my time in the south of France, in Nîmes. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Is there any life lesson that you could take from touring, from being with, maybe some heavy hitters? Is there any life lesson that you took from then that you still carry today?
Lessons from back then, yeah. Once you play, don't stop, don't stop. You know, because if you leave it for any length of time, you do get the nerves again. Do you know what I mean? I was really nervous when I first started doing that.
Hmm.
But if you leave a break for a month or two or three, it's almost like starting again, and you get those nerves again. You know,
Yeah.
so the best thing you can do is once you get the ball rolling and you start playing live, carry on. You know, keep doing it, and you get more accustomed to being on a stage and performing, and you don't get all nervous and your hands don't go all, shaking and all the rest of it. Uh,
Do you think that goes for anything
you
that you do in life?
learn more. Yeah, sorry, you learn a lot more from doing it live than you ever could a million times in your kitchen. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. I think you're right. But I was asking, I said, do you think that applies for anything that you do in your life? Is that you keep going, you don't walk away from it, for a period of time, then go back to it. I always find it fun when people say, well, I used to do this, but I've gone back to it now. So do you find yourself ever doing that, or would you want to do that? Because I don't think you're supposed to go backwards in life.
No, well, I can't imagine me now actually stopping it. You know, even if I haven't got a proper gig, I always go out and play in an open mic or something like that.
Okay.
You know, and I'm always doing my own material, even when in an open mic. So you can get, I can get royalties just for doing it's about a quid a minute royalties. So
Okay.
it's worth it. You know, if you're doing an hour, that's 60 quid just royalties alone.
Yeah.
You pick up from PRS. So you can actually earn money out of it. You know, if you register your song and then just claim it every time you go out and play, it clocks up. It's
Right.
amazing how it clocks up.
Right. Right. Do you find that from when you first started music to where you are now, do you find the music industry even more challenging now than you did back then?
Well, it is certainly very different now that you can, it's all online, and
Okay.
uh, you don't have to come in with a cassettes or physical CDs and LPs anymore. It's all, MP3s, and uh, it's all online and streaming and all this kind of stuff. It's a different ball game. Um, but actually, people I, I get more views from doing it live. So
Okay. Yeah.
my message to everybody is don't forget how to play live. Go out and do it live. More people are going to see you that way than they will if you hope for them to find you online. It's so hard for them to find you online now because there's millions of people with stuff out there
Yeah. Yeah.
for you to stream. And unless they know about you that in the first place, they're not going to find you. They just simply won't online. Your best way of advertising yourself is do it live. Go out there and play it live. Learn your trade.
I think that's the best advice I have ever gotten from a guest about performing. Go out
Yeah,
there and do it live, because so many people they just kind of want to stay hidden behind the computer. They don't want to put
yeah,
themselves out there and really go live. And so the fact that you said that, oh man, it makes me feel good. I love that. That is
yeah. Well,
advice.
it actually sorts the men from the boys, especially those. It's too easy now to do an AI thing without any knowledge whatsoever of music.
Uh-huh.
And we're hearing a lot of that from, especially on the dance scene. People don't really even have any musical knowledge to be able to make a massive hit. You know, but
But, here-
you try and do that live, do it live, then it's different. It's a
but
different
here's
ball game for them.
but here's my question. My question about AI. Do you really think that it's really, because I watched some AI videos, and to me, and there was one of my guests, a prior guest I had on there, and he did an AI video, and I kept looking at it, and I kept saying that's not him in real time. That's like, and so there are times that you can really tell. So my question is, I said, do you think it's really AI is really that? Are people using it correctly? Maybe let me just say that. Do you think it's really more beneficial than doing
But
things?
yeah, it's going to be very easy for people to not use it correctly and pretend
Yeah.
that they can do this, that, and the other. But
Yeah.
again, like I say, I think a lot of the younger generations are not fooled by it. They know a good thing when they see it in a.
I'm an older generation. I'm
I'm
an
going to
older
a lot of these.
generation. I can tell. I can tell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's beginning. It's obvious at the moment, but it might be very easy to fabricate things in future because it's technology's come that far that they will be able to fool you one day.
Well,
And that's what's a bit scary about it, to be honest.
because to me, when I watch something, it still seems like robotic to me, and not that it's not quality, but it's just something about it. Here's what I'm going to say: when you're talking to a real person, there's heart there, and you can tell there's real emotion there. When
Yeah.
you're looking at something from AI, you can tell there's no to me that there's no emotion there in that.
No, that's right.
You know.
Yeah, it lacks that. It lacks
Yeah,
that big time. Yeah.
yeah. So let's talk about your latest project. Let's talk about what is it?
Mirror.
Mirror. Ooh. When I looked at the cover, I got all kind of ideas about what this really means. It was reflective. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Am I correct with that assumption?
Yeah, it's basically having a good look at yourself, and learning from your mistakes in the past that you've made,
Hmm.
and good and bad. You have all kinds of experiences in the past, and it's having a good look at yourself. But it's soul searching, I suppose. And what have you learned from all of these experiences, and what you should drop and what you should take on as life goes on. So it's about growing up. I suppose it's taken me a long time to grow up.
When you decide to make this song Mirror, what was going to through your mind at that point that you said this is what I want to share, what I want to put out into the universe? What was that defining moment for you that says this is my next song?
My best song. I wouldn't say it was my best song, but it's the latest song. It's how I felt at the at presently, pretty much. I've done a lot of stupid things in my time, and that song is all about kind of making myself better, and what did I learn from all those stupid things that I did, it's like this is the way forward. Do not look back and uh, carry on doing the things that hurt you. Just
So
whatever it was that hurt you, avoid it and move on. But hopefully you've learned something from it.
so would you consider this song what I would call a reset moment to say, okay, I've learned from all the other stuff. I am no longer going to do that. I'm going to
Yeah,
look for a reset. Okay, okay.
it's exactly that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to move forward and be positive, and even the negative things that happened, switch them around and turn them positive. You learn something from it.
See, that's what I say. If you learn from the mistakes that you've made, and you say I'm not going to do that anymore, you are ahead of the game, in my opinion. That's how I look at it.
Well, thank you very much.
So congratulations on the new single. You know you have to send it to me.
Send it to you. Did you say?
Huh? Yeah.
You've got the song there, haven't you?
I don't.
You don't have Mirror.
No, I only had it when Du sent it to me, and so I played it from there, but I don't have it from a copy from me.
Oh right. Well, I don't have a physical copy, but I can send you an MP3. Is that what?
There you go.
Would you
That'll
like
work.
that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'll do that
All right,
as soon as. Yeah.
sounds good. Okay, I'm not going to keep you up any longer because it's late for you, and I know it's midnight now, so it's after midnight now.
It's getting close. Yeah, it's 22 over here. 20 minutes to.
Okay. Well, anyway, you guys have been listening to my conversation with Mr. Tim. I always want to say Whitaker, Mr. Tim Whitaker. Just a
That's
Jester
right.
is a tongue twister for me. But you guys have been listening to a great conversation. And this is not his first time here with us. He's come back. And you're welcome to come back time and time again because I always find that there's more that I didn't get to that I'm going to get to our next time around. So thank you. I appreciate you staying up late. And he's in the UK, guys. So check all his music out. But before you go, tell
Yeah.
everyone where they can find your music and your latest single, Mirror. Check out the cover because it's fantastic.
Hello. Yeah. Well, I'm Tim Whitaker. I'm. My project is Just a Jester. My latest song is Mirror, and you can find that on SoundCloud only at the moment. So SoundCloud. So if you look for Just a Jester on SoundCloud, you will find me there, and it should be at the top of the list of the songs that I've got there. There's 40 songs, I think, or 40. Yeah, it's 40 songs on my SoundCloud page. So yeah, it'll be at the top, very, very top, the very first one. And yeah, that's it. Mirror, fantastic.
He's
Nice talking with you there, Elle.
he's uber talented, you guys. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. I listened to, like I said, from Rob, but you guys, I want to have it so I can put it up on our station, and our station is KELM Radio, and
Okay,
yeah, so I'm gonna send it to me so I can send it over to have my people put it up there.
I will. Could you send me the link as well
I will do
to
that.
your program,
I will
and
do
then
that.
I can let my people know about it over here,
I
and
will
we can
do
shoot.
that. I
Was
like
this
it.
live? Was it a live one?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Oh wow!
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're live all across our social media, including TikTok. So yeah, you're live.
What, you still going now? You mean
What was that?
you still going now?
I
Is it
am.
still? Oh
Yes.
right, okay, sorry. I don't want to interrupt your show with any more stuff.
Thank you, Tim.
But yeah,
Enjoy
send me
your.
a link, please.
I will do that. I'll get it over. I'm not gonna say tonight because I'm always slow at doing stuff, and I have to give it to my people to do other stuff because I can't do all. It drives me crazy.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. Anytime, yeah. Just when you've done with it, yeah, send it
All
over.
right.
I'd love it. Love to hear
I
it.
will do that. I will do that. Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Just a jester.
Thank
Just
you,
a
El.
jester. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye. All right, you guys. You were listening to my conversation with Mr. Timothy Whitaker, just a jester. So you know how when people say like the court jester, and so he said just is because he's solo, and then the word jester. So I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation. I truly did. And as I said, he's going to forward over the MP3 of his latest single called Mirror. And then you guys can tune into KELM Radio and you can listen to it there. All right, I have enjoyed it. This is what we do on Tuesdays on Elle Unfiltered. We come a lot, we bring on some amazing talent. That a lot of talent, some of our talent comes from the UK and Canada and the US and Spain and Australia, um, some other places. I've had guests also from Africa. So yeah, we're literally when I say we are global, I mean that in a wonderful sense because I get to meet some amazing people that if I was not doing this, I never would have the opportunity to meet. I never had opportunity to meet, and so we want you guys to get to know us quite well over in London, just because we have a lot of guests come on there. So we're going to make sure that Tim gets the information that he needs to make sure he tells all of his fans in the UK to tune in and check us out on KELM 101.9. That's our station. As long as tuning into our live conversations. Ooh, okay. So I'm going to take a few more minutes now because normally we don't stay on that long on on Tuesdays, but I want to. I don't know if I have. Let me see if I have one in my assets. Okay. Well, I don't, but let me do this right here. Okay. So we're gonna add it. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's go back here. So earlier today, if you guys didn't know, Reverend Jesse Jackson passed away. And for people who don't know Reverend Jackson, and some probably don't, although I find it hard to say that you don't know him. So I squint when I say it because he was one of those people that was bigger than larger than life. As I like to say, he was larger than life, and he okay, put it back up there. Okay. Anyway, he was larger than life for so many people. He has worked with. First of all, his I think his career started when he first joined Dr. King, and that's what I guess kind of brings it together for me is that even growing up and learning about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and then seeing people like Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sharpton, they were all young men that they were learning from watching him, and Jesse Jackson, of course, followed that. He followed that. He was like Dr. King. Dr. King fought for the civil rights. He also wanted to get economic equality, which was Jesse Jackson was for. Make sure that you were able to get the right jobs and even to have the right education or to get an education, to have your voice being heard, to know that even if you were a poor kid, his famous phrase was, "I am somebody," and that's been playing quite a bit today as we talk about Jesse Jackson and the impact the legacy that he has left. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he was a perfect individual because, heck, none of us are perfect individuals. But when you do things to help the community, and not just the Black community, but people as a whole, he worked with all types of presidents, Republican presidents, Democrat presidents. If you see a video where he was always helping when people were being held hostage or there was some kind of crisis, and he was always there to lend a hand, to be a voice. So, 84 years of age, he's no longer with us in the physical sense, but his legacy has left so much that we can learn from. And I will say this: I said, I had a chance to meet? Did I have a chance to meet Reverend Jackson? I did, and it was strange because we were like shortly when things started to reopen after COVID, and I was out and about in Chicago in that particular area, and I met a young man, and we started talking about the COVID and what was going on, and it just so happened I ended up being in front of Rainbow Push, Rainbow Push headquarters. Now, in all these years, I had never gone to Rainbow Push or whatever. So we sat out there talking, and he asked me a question. He said, "Well, um, would you like to meet Reverend Jackson?" And I was like, "Sure." I didn't necessarily think he was going to go in and bring the man out, but he went in there and he came out. He came out, and we were still, like I said, in COVID, and he came out and he said, "Oh, he didn't have his mask." Now, at the time, keep in mind, Reverend Jackson, I think a couple years earlier, had been diagnosed with having Parkinson's disease, and so, eventually you saw him being in a wheelchair, not able to really be mobile on his own. But at that time period, he was still mobile. He was up walking with assistance, though he had some assistance, but he came through those doors, out of those doors at Rainbow Push, and I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs, and he was walking up to me. He says, he gave me like we kind of hugged like an air hug, but I told him, I said I didn't have COVID, and he says I don't have COVID either, but being that his system was was compromised, I didn't want to. So instead, he gave me an air hug, and he said, "I'm just gonna shake your hand anyway." And so he shook my hand, and he said, "It was nice to meet you." He asked me what was I doing for what was my plans for the day. I mean, of course, he was slow in asking, and I understood that. And then I told him what my plans were for the day, and his associate, he was explaining to me what they were going to do. So it was a group of young Black guys. They were like at the very end of the block, and I could see them. You can see they were gathering together because it was an event that they were going to head to, and I don't remember what the event was. And he was like, we you said, like, you want a picture? And here's stupid me. So I'm just like, because I was so excited to meet him, because my car was parked there, but I was walking. I forgot where the heck I was going, but my car was parked like halfway down the block, and I had left my phone in the car. So I was like, you know what? I don't have my phone, so I can't take a photo. But I wish I had, because that would be a memory. But I know it was really great to meet him. It was really great to meet him. Like I said, I wrote about him. I did papers on him. Being a kid, you hear and you follow, you see the work that he has done. So I saw all of that. You saw some of his not great moments, but we're not talking about those. But he was very instrumental. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was the first black man to run for the president of the United States. Now that was in 1986, I think. That was in 1986 that he ran for. And I don't think he knew I don't think he believed that he was going to win, but I think he wanted to show that this is possible, that it's possible that a black man can run for that a black man can run for the presidency. And I think he still ended up getting about 3 million votes, if I'm not mistaken. And from there, and I think that it's just been such an outpour of people that have sent their condolences. And one of the things that struck me today was what was his name? Mr. Leak from Mr. Leak. And I think it's Leak Family Funeral Home. They called in and left and did a phone interview. And Mr. Leak Jr. was asked, because I think they got received a phone call the night before, late last night, and saying that they think the time is going to be coming closer, that for the time is going to become closer, and it's for his passing. Talking about Jesse Jackson. And so he said that was about 11 o'clock, about 11:30 that night. And he said, oh, okay. He said, well, then just give him a call if and when that happens. And so he said he got a call probably about close to 1:30 or 2 a.m. this morning, and it said that Mr. Jackson had passed away. Mr. Jackson had passed away. And one of the things, and they said, so he passed away with his entire family, his 6 kids, all around him, surrounding him as he passed away. And one of the things that stood out to me during that conversation was he said when he walked into the door, Mrs. Jackson, the woman he had been married to, I forgot how many years he'd been married, but the woman he was married to, he walked in the door and she greeted him. He hugged her and she said, "You can give me a squeeze me, give me a big hug, because it's okay." And so he said he gave her a big squeezable, squishy hug, if I can say that. And then he said that he wanted Jesse Jackson Jr. His son wanted to kind of take over, how to take his father. And so he said he was really detailed in the information that he gave. He said that Jesse why am I tongue tied today? All the damn J's. So Jesse Jr. Helped to put his father's body up on the to wheel him out. He also accompanied his father to the funeral home, and spent some time there alone with his dad, to make and just to make sure that everything was being handled properly for his father. So we send our condolences to the Jackson family, and he has a huge legacy that everyone should teach their children, be them black, white, brown, whatever. We should all teach our kids. We always want to teach them about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but just keep in mind that Jesse Jackson was right there at his side. As a matter of fact, he's right there in Memphis when Dr. King was murdered. Al Sharpton was right there. So when we talk about Black American history, Black legacy, we talk about people like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that people weren't without, that weren't without missteps and things of that nature, because we all have issues and make missteps, because we're human. So if you're human, you're going to make mistakes, plain and simple. So for him, when you look over it, now this is what I can say about CBS, because CBS has been pissing me off a lot. But they have spent earlier today talking about the legacy of Jesse Jackson. They have also tuned in this evening and they're still continuing the conversation about Jesse Jackson. And I think the reason why we talk so much about him because he was definitely from Chicago. You would see him all around Chicago at any given time. You would see him, doing work around Chicago, just like Barack Obama. You know, before Obama became president and now ex-president, you would see him all the time throughout Chicago. Him and Michelle, especially over at the University of Chicago, you would see them all there, and you would, it was all community. So and that's how Barack Obama came up with the grassroots. And one of the reflections that they speak about Jesse Jackson was when Barack Obama was elected president, first black president of the United States. Um, you saw a picture of Jesse Jackson, and he was literally crying. You could see the tears in his eyes, and you could see the emotion that he was feeling at that moment when Barack Obama and Michelle and their children walked out on that stage. You could see that, and I remember that moment. And as you get older, there are moments that you can recall, and when someone passed away, you can and they talk about that moment. You can reflect in your own self and say, I remember that moment. I remember watching his eyes well up, full of tears and with pride. And probably there was probably a lot of emotion going on through him, saying, just recalling the fact that he was the first black man to, announce that he was going to run for the presidency. All of the work that he did with Dr. King and with Al Sharpton. So I can imagine the amount of emotion that was coming through him at that moment. And he was just like, you know what, all the work that we have done thus far, have brought us to this moment to watch Barack Obama and become the next president of the United States. And then to have all that amazingness to be so sullied by what we see in DC now is a disgrace. It absolutely is a disgrace. Now, what I will say is that the occupant, he made a posting this morning. So when I found out, and I said, "Oh God," I said, "What ignorance is going to come from his face today?" Now he did take a jab at President Obama, but he did say that that he had met Jesse Jackson many times, and that he was a good guy and worked hard and all these other things like that. But then he posted this photo of him with Jesse Jackson, and I said, "Okay, it's not the first time that a racist has the black people have shaken hands with a racist. It's not the first time. It's not the last time. But when people say when they say they show you who they are, that occupant has been showing us over and over and over and over and over who he really is. And so it is up to us to believe who that is. Granted, it's a nice photo with him with Jesse Jackson, great. But here's the thing: that was in the '80s, and in the '80s, he was still trying to make a name for himself. So I think that he said, "Well, Jesse Jackson already has a name, so I'm just gonna pretend like I'm friends with him and whatever, you know." So either way, we send our condolences to Reverend Jackson's family, and we keep them in their thoughts and prayers. Yes, we do. And from that moment on, I'm going to bid you guys a farewell for the Tuesday evening, and I'm going to say thank you guys for tuning in. I don't know why I always lean in. I try to have this camera out of my face so much, but here we go. Thank you guys for tuning in on this Tuesday evening. And if you missed any part of my interview, my conversation with Tim Whitaker, aka Just the Jester, he's an amazing songwriter and singer from the UK. He was on with us live. So you guys can, if you missed any of it, you can go back and check out the Facebook, both of our Facebook pages, as well as our YouTube. And I'll try to take some clips from it and share it so you guys can get a chance to watch it. In the meantime, have a wonderful rest of the week if you can. Try not to let too much of the negativity that comes from DC overshadow your week. Just be aware of who you are and what your values, and you stick with that. You stick with God, stick with your values, cannot go wrong. Okay? All right. And hopefully you guys will join us back here next Monday. Hopefully we'll be back here next Monday on something to talk about. And we're going to have more to talk about. We're going to have another new guest. I will, if you follow me on social media, I will tell you who that guest will be next Tuesday. I appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you guys like this video, or make sure you tell people in the comments to tune in every Tuesday, because we always have some new guests and some more stories. Make sure you tell them to follow us on Mondays, to come in and talk to us live on Mondays. On Mondays, my co-hosts are with me. Brianna Murray is with me, as well as Dr. Fight is with us when his schedule permits. So I just want to say thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening. And this is Elle. I'm out of here. Okay. So.